Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so thank you everybody for coming. Yeah, thank you so much for sitting down to this class. Good to have everybody here. El Shaddai, Eleanor, Isaiah, Zaya, my G, and then Ozioma. So it's good to have everybody here, honestly. Yeah, if you guys, I would like for this class to just be a little bit interesting because me myself, I get that to be. But you guys should just say hi, like say hi. Let's start from Zaya. Zaya, how are you doing? Just like quick 2 minutes. So yeah, I called your name. I called your name like 3 times. Zaya, say hi or meet your mic and say hi to me. Thank you, Zaya. No wahala, just try. It doesn't matter. Just unmute your mic and say hi. It doesn't matter where you are. Me, I'm not in public, but I don't mind. So okay, so Ozioma, Eleanor, please, how you guys doing? Thank you. Honestly, like who isn't happy that the day is about to end? Like finally, night is coming, we can't sleep. Yeah, sleep is for the week. Sleep is for the week, Sha. Eleanor, how you doing? How have your own day been? John Benedict, El Shaddai, yes. Yeah, that's cool. El Shaddai and John Benedict, you guys, let's hear your voice more. I beg, how you doing? How's your own day been? Are you in public? Not in public? Anyone? If you don't mind. Nice, nice. We're about to buy land. Yeah. Well, that's cool. John Benedict, what's up? Are you going to give us feedback for how your day is? A quick one, like ASAP. I guess that's a no. However, it's cool to have you all here. And thank God you spoke. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to try to speak louder, even if I'm really shouting right now. My neighbors think something's happening, but uh, yeah, exactly, exactly. It is honestly. Yeah, Nigeria don't ever Nigeria, we will get better. We will get better. Please let's get started with class. So in today's class, I'm going to talk about something really interesting, right? It's a topic that feels excluded to a certain people. However, this affects everybody, right? And the topic is accessibility. Now, I will get started right now. If there's anybody that's trying to get into the class, they should kindly just send me a message or something because right now I can't see any other person. Yeah, and it's accessibility. So before we move forward, I really won't make mistake. Yep, cool. So and accessibility, right, and heuristic evaluation. The, the major point I'm trying to make with this thing is accessibility. I'm going to teach you accessibility, and then we'll cover what heuristic evaluation is. Now, my emphasis are going to be on accessibility here, and what accessibility is not. Ideally, it would make sense for us to start what's accessibility, try to explain and give you concept. Sorry, but I want to talk about what accessibility is not first. So we'll get that understanding of this is exactly what we have been calling it, but this is not what it is. Now, accessibility is, before we go there, in this lesson, we are going to be learning what accessibility is, what accessibility is not, Yeah, I'm going to tell you a story about how accessibility fits into our daily life aside us being tech bros or being digital users of the web or being disabled as a person. Then we are going to talk about what heuristic evaluation is and 10 commandments of heuristic evaluation. I'm also going to tell you about physical, like practical steps you can use to improve accessibility and how you should think about accessibility moving forward when trying to design digital products and how that will help you not just design digital products alone, but help your own thinking in terms of how you see other things and how it fits into our life. Cool. So, what accessibility is not? Now, accessibility is not trying to design with the medical model of trying to fix or teach the user to fit into a normal societal ways of doing things. It is not making a big separate project for disabled people. That is what many people nowadays know accessibility for, is that you are trying to build website for blind people, right? Or you're trying to build or you're trying to teach blind person how to use a website and you tell them this is how you use it. No. Now that is medically how people see accessibility in terms of trying to put, okay, somebody is disabled, right? Medically try to fix the person's leg, try to put, or anything that is possible, like put metals in the person's leg, trying to, try regenerative chemicals, try to use whatever it is to fix that person's leg. However, when it comes to building digital products and solutions, accessibility is not that. It's not trying to fix somebody or teach the person into fitting into normal societal life. Now, when it comes to design, when it comes to digital web, right? The next is accessibility, right? Or designing accessibility is designing products that helps the users, that's everybody, to use the product easily, regardless of their inabilities to do certain things. They are going to be developing features, projecting usable features that help in their abilities to what they can do rather than what they cannot do. Now, this is as plain as this. You when designing, right? It's not as if you are designing and then you say, today I'm going to be designing with accessibility. No, this is a model you should have at the back of your mind all the time. Is this product accessible? Now, is this feature going to help somebody to use this product without them stressing or without them having to go to another website? It's a very, very basic thing of saying, Figma, how can somebody who has a disease and they cannot use a keyboard, how can somebody with ALS that can't use a mouse for a while, how can they use their keyboard to navigate through Figma? They're not saying this is Figma for blind person. This is normal Figma. Let's take another example is Twitter. I've read through a lot of research where a lot of people, right, use Twitter with screen readers. Now, how come they are using the same Twitter with all of us screen readers? Twitter don't have a separate team building Twitter for blind people or Twitter for deaf people. It's the same Twitter, right? But they are being able to use it regardless of their inabilities to do things, regardless of their inability to see or people's inabilities like to hear, or they have color blindness, or they are suffering from ALS, or as like like there are different mental illnesses that could make people not be able to access the web, even physical illnesses, as well as emotional illnesses that make people not to access the web. I talked about this a lot in my YouTube channel. I'll give you the link to the description so you go there and see for examples, all the examples I gave and everything around it. However, it's really, really important that we all like have this is what accessibility is. Yeah, my instead. So I want to check something, right? I think my audio just switched. So yeah, can everybody still hear me? Please just confirm. Can I just need to know that I'm being heard as well. Anybody, a notes, anything? Cool. Thank you. That's all I need. Yeah. So now that is features. As I said, I'm talking about you projecting features that help people's abilities to do things. Now, if you are talking about How can somebody read an article? If you use I love Microsoft Edge. I personally believe it's a browser that we all should use, from the mobile version to the web version. It's really, really built in with accessible features that help the product itself to scale, like to scale on a very large scale. Oh, technology. Well, and that leads me to this story that I want to tell you now. And this story is about Matt Murdock. Just on my Marvel fans, we know each other here. Now, Matt Murdock is an able-bodied 21-year product designer. That's not my age. That lives alone in Nigeria. That's not where I stay. However, Matt Murdock is faced with a challenge, and he got taxed from work. And his tax, this is like a story of Madudok's life now. And Madudok's tax is that he used to carry out research on certain people that use a product that they use at work. And Madudok works for a financial firm, and then she find out how people pay like like household services, for example, cleaning and the rest. So he had to like carry out research with physical people, and he had all this down on his notes. Now, Madmuga has jotted all this down. You can see how he's looking at the program is about to have, where he's about to pitch his almighty research and findings of how he can improve financial services for domestic homes, domestic services that people render, how he can improve that process for them. Has come up with user flows and everything around it. And he has his presentation and he's looking all firm and strong, you know, and that's what she said. But now, Mark Murdoch is that same morning, right, in the kitchen, cutting pepper, trying to fry some kind indomie, so he be, just eat small before he goes into the meeting, just rush some kind indomie, and pepper enter his eye. So now, Mark Murdoch is scrambling for himself, finding water to wash his face. Pepper have entered his eye because of indomie. He will just have drunk water and he'll be fine. But this guy went to go and put his hands inside indomie to cut pepper, and he washes his face well and fine. He can still see, he can still find his way around. But then his vision is blurry at this point. Now Matt is worried because his vision is blurry, like really blurry, and he can't see what is on the screen. He knows that he typed this thing. He can remember part of it, but he can't see everything on the screen. He can't see plenty things, and his meeting is already starting, right? And as Matt starts his meeting and he starts to talk about it, now he's finding it very difficult to see what's on the screen. Like he's finding it very difficult to like look through it and say, okay, this is what is here, what this thing is here. Just in that moment where he's trying to use his mouse, his wireless mouse, the battery died, and all he has left is his keyboard. How can he, with his blurry vision, use his keyboard alone to navigate this website? That's like one of the baddest and the worst moments that Matt has ever been in his life. And he could not do that. He had to tell them he had a health emergency and the program got moved. Yeah, Matt will get better. He will come back stronger, better, just like he is right now. I face it. However, he is, the people that he's going to present to, they've wasted their time, their trust for him has reduced, and the quality of his presentation as a designer has been affected. And guess why? At this point when Mars was trying to present, he was using a website and he could not increase the font of that website. He could not do anything to save himself at that point. His battery has died and he could not navigate the website with his keyboard alone. Now you can see Matt, an able-bodied person that was fighting this program very strong, is as useless. It's like he can't do anything. He's just useless. It's just to him. He's just there. Now there is no way that you can say Matt can do anything at that point because his keyboard is dead, and his I say his keyboard, his mouse is dead, and his visions are blurry, and there's no difference at this point between Matt and a blind person, or somebody whose vision is impaired, or somebody who has ALS that cannot use the mouse. Now, Matt is basically suffering from a disability at this certain point. That leads me to letting everybody here know that as far as we are living human beings, from the moment we are alive to the moment we die, we will suffer from temporary or one temporary disability in every moment, not in every moment, but in a moment in our life, right? We would suffer from one disability temporarily in a moment in our life where we are basically immovable. We are put in a situation where we can't do things, just like somebody who cannot, who was born that way, who probably has a disability to do some certain things. Now, now let's go back to math, right? Let's see, for example, a website that had immersive reader, Microsoft Word immersive reader. If Matt had just clicked the immersive reader with his AirPod on, he could hear what he typed out and repeat it after himself, and these people will listen, right? If Matt's developers had programmed the website with proper blocks of code, he would have been able to use his keyboard to navigate the website easily without having without even thinking that his mouse was gone. He would have navigated the website very easy and find what he wanted to do. Increase, minimize, no stress. Now you can see how not if I imagine there was a website for blind people that had all these features. Imagine it. Imagine there was a website for a blind person that had all these features that could do all these things that Matt wanted. Man's mentality is he is an able-bodied person. There's nothing that will make him go to a blind person's website because he's not blind. He can still see, he feels it. Like it's not as if he feels it. His brain has always stored that memory that he can see. So his brain will not let him know that he has to go towards the blind person website to go and find out how he can use their website. He will be struggling where he is. But if the website was built to put one person for accessibility reasons, it will be solving everybody's problem. Now that's like that brings me to mind points that I will be letting you know of how you should think, or things you should have in your mind when like building a product, when considering accessibility for that product. Now you should build one product for everybody. It's a very key thing. Accessibility is not building accessible products for blind people, for deaf people, for people with autism, for people with emotional problems, for people with emotional disabilities. Sorry, for people with mental disability. They are not building for everybody. They are building for one person. You are building for everybody. You are not building separately. You are building for everybody. You're having everybody in mind. You are considering the use case of your product into a lot of lives, and then you're building features that support all of that. I will tell you that you can't there's no 100%. As engineers, we know that engineering student, we know that there's no 100% efficient system, right? However, you can keep iterating to solve that problem. Now, building a product for everyone is key. Have everybody in mind. If you are building a website, a simple website that has your portfolio, have somebody in mind. Your recruiter could be a blind person, and what was going to happen that your recruiter cannot read what's on your CV just because you didn't consider, oh, how do I build this website that has this inside, that has like immersive reader, or you didn't tell your developers to use a header section when they're supposed to use a header section, and they went to go and use they went to go and use probably like an article for just something that just needed them to use a div section for. Now you can see how this differs, and then nobody can navigate your website when they are supposed to create a button using a button tag, but they went to use a div. They put it in a class of button. Now your website does not know that that's a button. Immersive reader doesn't know that's a button. It skips it. The action is not being taken place. So these kind of things are really important. Following the guidelines, I'll give you instruction. I'll give you where you can go, where you can get these guidelines. However, I recommend that you watch these YouTube videos that I've mentioned that I made. These videos will really help because all the guidelines are also there. Now, these guidelines are from Wika, and Google has their own accessibility guidelines. Apple guidelines. Follow these guidelines, read them through, look at them. When you are designing a product, you go through them and look at, okay, how to do this, okay, this is how to improve accessibility for this, right? Now, this will help you understand, okay, how to make your research, how to think about products, how to think about use cases, how to think about user flows, how to think about, oh, how does this affect this person? where will my product be most likely used? Where will this feature of click to enter be most likely used? How do I improve it for somebody who has inability to do certain things? You follow these guidelines, they are there for a reason, right? You will be solving more than one problem when you develop accessible products. Now, another example of this is the ramps when you try to, cross the road or you try to climb a church building, right? See those ramps on the road when you try to cross the road, those ramps when you try to, come down from probably pedestrian walk and cross to the other side when you're trying to beat, traffic lights. So now, those ramps were not just built because they wanted the place to be smooth. It was a consideration of accessibility that made them. Now, for people who are using wheelchairs so they can easily cross the road ASAP. Now, those ramps have aided people who are carrying trolleys and want to cross the road. They have aided people who are pushing their babies inside, all the baby moto, zoom, zoom, and to cross the road easily. Now, those ramps has also helped old people to come down without having to say, "Let me hold something," and then put one leg before the other. That ramp was built for somebody on a wheelchair, but you can see how it solves problem. It just notes that building accessible products generally solves more than one problem. If you don't have, like, if you are struggling with saying, "How does my app solve a problem?" Try and make it accessible, and you see that people would use it more. Like it will be open to more people. One in every 5 person on the planet, right, has one or two disabilities. One in every 5 person. That's to tell you that there's a lot of people with all of this. If you are five in your family, imagine that, like, just put that in your mind that if you're in a public place, in a random place, right, one of every 5 person has that thing, has a disability. Now, you guys, that's a lot of people you should consider. Now, it mustn't be that difficult. It can be pretty accessible. It's really hard to get. It's not really hard to get. You just have to keep trying. Sometimes accessible products that are really accessible, they just look like they are blocks and they don't really work. However, Microsoft has been really that they have been doing a really good job with their products that you can find out that is accessible and it's still usable and it's still very presentable. And helpful actions that we can take that will help us improve our accessible product. That's now provide sufficient contrast between foreground and background for everything you design, right? Now, so I'm talking about what you should have in mind when coming up with designs. Now, what the reason why I talk about the mind points is so that when you are doing your research, you are coming up with user flows and storyline and all those things, right? You have in mind that, oh, so if you are providing a feature that says for your application that, okay, they will click this button to order this food and then they will click this blue box here, you already have start thinking that, oh, this blue box, who are people that are going to offer or order food? Most of the classes you've had, people have hammered about your who and your users. Now, who are these users? Who a blind man could probably decide to order food because he's alone in the house, which is a very likely possibility. Now, if you can't see the blue button, how is he going to use it? Then you start thinking that, okay, now provide sufficient contrast between your foreground and your background. Don't leave everything like just anyhow using the same contrast of colors everywhere. These different contrasts help people identify different things and say, okay, this is different from this. It helps somebody with what's called somebody who is colorblind to understand that there's different emphasis being placed on these things, right? Don't use color alone to convey information. As I made mention of this blue box, don't use only colors to pass information to things. It's what human beings do in terms of, okay, this page is blue, this page is red. Now users that can see, right, using your product consistently will build a mental model of, yeah, this page is blue, that, but once they get on the blue page, they know they are sending money. Once they get on the red page, you know that they're about to block their account. They already, like, their mental model, their brain will automatically go to accepting it. However, for somebody who is colorblind, I can't tell the differences of these things, right? It's a problem. And if that message you are using that color to pass is a very critical point of action in your application flow, is not good. It's really, really bad. Ensure that interactive elements are easy to identify. If you have a button, right, make sure the button is easy to identify. Make sure it has a hover state. Make sure it has a select state. Make sure it has an inactive state. Now, and a default state. A default state is the original state of the button, how it looks. Your selected state is when you have clicked on it, how does it interact with the user? If you click on, if you go to LinkedIn and you try to follow somebody, you will see that the button will interact with you. Like once you click on the button, you see the interaction change in color, you need to hover a bit or something, you will feel that interaction, right? Most especially on the web. Now, you also have, I mentioned of default, your select, you have your hover state. If your mouse hovers on it, how will it react? Will it float? Will it, will it go inline immediately? How will your button react? And I say default, selected, hover, and inactive. Inactive, the button is not working. How would they know? If I hover on a button that is not working, how would I know? Ideally, you're supposed to have like an icon that just tells the person that this button is not working. That icon that just like it's a circle with a cross, like one step cancel inside it. Now, these kind of things are interactions that help users identify, oh, this thing is not working, this is working, this is how it looks like. Very, very useful. They are very, very, very useful for somebody who has blurry vision like Matt. Now, if Matt had hovered over like something like a message video also, they would have seen, oh, the button is interactive. This is what they can use to do this, right? Now, provide clear, consistent navigation options. Clear, consistent. If you are editing a post and you want to leave, but you don't want to delete that post, and you just swipe your back button, and then a pop-up comes and tell you leave now, cancel. At that point, you are confused whether if you leave now, what will happen? If you cancel, what will happen? Now, all those navigations, they are inconsistent. How does somebody who has like a specific mental disability understand that? Some people have mental disability in terms that making decisions are really difficult for them, and it's not of them training their mind, just a health thing that they have to grow past. Now, how do they make that kind of decision when the decision itself is not clear? Now you're putting somebody in harm risks. If the person is in a solution where you are in a situation where your application is going to help somebody save their life, or it's like it's a health tech situation, and they are saying leave now or cancel, like what are you telling them? They're not ready to leave the app, they just want to go back to another section. However, they are saying leave now, they are saying cancel. Now, clear, consistent navigation options should be given. This is why our next class we're going to have for next week is going to be on UX writing, where Zainab is going to be talking to you about understanding copy and micro copy that you should use. Very interesting class. Moving forward, ensure that form elements include clearly associated labels. Form elements, like for example, your this thing, your form elements, like I'm trying to use it, like think about very, very close example. Let's say when you're trying to sign up. Now, when you're trying to sign up, it should be labels that identify that yes, this is sign up page, this is personal details. Now, the individual knows they're putting personal details here, right? For example, somebody who has a disability to easily forget what happened. And if you really look at it, I don't think anybody, right? I don't think everybody doesn't face that moment where they are trying to fill a form and then you look away for like 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds, and you come back and boom, you don't know what you're doing again. Like, damn, what's happening here? What was I writing here? And you're gone. Like, it happens a lot of time, right? So it's something that you should consider, like clear associated labels. If you label your form that yeah, this form is personal details, by the time you look away and you're back, you remember that yeah, you're trying to put like personal details here. So you personal details. Yeah, for all of us that apply for jobs, like 10 to 20 every day, you write about you plenty times. You copy and paste it, you edit it to fit the company, you change company name on your cover letter like that same 20 times. So it's something that you should consider, because if you are the one in that position of filling a form, you would want to know where you are at a certain point. Secondly, use headings and spacing to group elements. Clean design. If you see a design, even if the design is useless, when I mean design is useless, that means it's not solving a problem, it's just fine. Even if it's fine, the reason why it's fine is because it has clear spacing. Clear spacing. White space is not your enemy. So clear headings and spacing makes your design look fine. Even if it's a useless design, that doesn't solve a problem. Yes, there are a lot of useless designs on dribbles that don't on dribble that don't solve any problem. They're just bunch of elements joined together in very precise proper spacing. Now, use headings and spacing to group related content. As I said earlier, right? Related content. If you have a group, I don't have an example yet. I'm going to explain. If your application is probably a market list application that helps people, right, that are going to the market to easily put list of things they want to buy and then reminds them about it, does the math of how much the current price is by using an API that receives data from a black market, probably a supermarket around them or a general supermarket, for example, ShopRite, and it collects this data from ShopRite and uses that to help people in the houses calculate how much price of things is by the time they just type the name, right? Now that's a very useful application. Honestly, I should don't steal my idea, please. Don't steal. Now it has a very useful application. Now you see this application, right? How do you then align element, like group spacings and things together? How do you like use headings and spacings to group related content? For example, you are trying to buy groceries and you start writing vegetable, tomato, and oh, you remember something and you just put spoon three. Probably your son Emeka, misplaced one of his spoon or he used it to go and make toy car or something. Now something I can do. You have to now spoon, Emeka spoil spoon. You have put spoon in between, you have typed in spoon in between vegetable, okra, potato. Now the system will identify vegetable, okra, potato as groceries, right? However, spoon is a utensil. Now it is supposed to identify it as utensils. So if there is heading space, I really wish I could do something right now. Yeah, before we get there, let's see if I could. No, I can't. It's be longer. I will send like a picture of what I'm talking about so you understand what I mean by these spacings. Now, if there is a proper spacing and this application is identifying everything by its group. For example, look at this thing in front of you, this slide. This slide. Now you can see that this list of elements that are tied together like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are all together. The spacing between them is 8 pixels, right? But however, they are together. And there's a very good breathing space between the five like content here and the helpful actions that the helpful actions five, this is five here, and we'll make it pretty on that helpful actions. However, it's not inside the five and it's not part of them, so it's not a mistake. However, it's still there. The feeling, nobody is telling your mind is reading it and your mind is understanding the situation you know. It's just that when you drop in a room, for example, a guy that is being dropped in a room of all girls, or a girl that is being dropped in a room of all guys, your mind starts to read the situation everywhere automatically. That's exactly how you are.
That's how you should think about it, using header and spaces to related content. Now, provide easily identifiable feedback that can be easily found, identifiable, like in terms of if I, as I said, I made mention of leaving a page or coming back to a page or that kind of thing, easy identifiable feedback. How will I know that I'm leaving here? How do I know that I just paid? I sent money, for example, you sent money to me. Yes, I want money. You sent like, let me say, you sent like the next 2K US dollars to my account. How do you know the money has gone? The money has gone, sharp, or you probably see a pop-up that comes and tell you, oh, please try again, and you can try again to go multiple times. I don't mind for you. It's good now. So you see a pop-up that says to try again, or you see a pop-up that tells you that transaction failed. Please kindly wait 1 or 2 minutes before you try again. Now those are two different things. One is telling you to try again, you try again. If you try again, I get more money. However, you still see the pop-up to try again because probably network or something. But the other one that's telling you, please wait 1 or 2 minutes before you try again, it's just letting you know that there could be an error. But if you wait 1 or 2 minutes before you try again, it would be better. If the two of them, if you wait one,
Your first one that you are sending me double money for, if it will work, the error will be fixed. But they are not telling you. They are just hoping that you know. The other one, on the other hand, is letting you know easy identifiable feedback. This takes me back to remind you about the cost we have not tomorrow or Saturday with Zainab on UX writing. Mm, awesome stuff. Zainab is an awesome writer. If you want to meet Zainab for the lesson, remind me. I'll send you like links to her articles. She and one other awesome guy, like Caveman, to their articles. They are UX writers, really interesting people. You see how UX writing plays a role here. Now, creating designs for different viewport sizes. It's one of those things that breaks our heart as designers. As you grow, as you increase, and you become better. You see why Facebook is working on your Nokia 3310 and it's surprising you. It's because there's one intern somewhere probably designing it. And you see why Facebook is working on your iPhone 12 with different viewports, different screen size, and it's working. Yes, there's a pro designer somewhere doing that. You see why Facebook is working on your father's tablet that you use in the night to play game. I'm not saying things that these are not things I do. Now, this that is why it's working on the tablet. These are different viewports of designs, right, of different screen sizes, and that's how they work. And you should design and have for these viewports in mind. Ideally, 3 to 4 different viewports is a necessity when designing products, big size products generally. So it covers every viewport. So the fact that I don't have an iPhone 12 doesn't mean I won't be able to use this application because it won't work on my phone to be showing anyhow. So that kind of things to consider. Include image and media alternatives in your design. Your devs should do it. You as a designer, you should do it. If you are designing an application, for example, I I have a thing for edtech that just scratches my brain, makes me enjoy it. And you are trying to upload pictures for students to learn, and there is no alt text for it, right? You will need to consider that. For example, YouTube has given options where people can add alt text. Twitter has that option. If you want to tweet and you put a picture, you will see the button where you can add your alt text to it, right? Now, these are things you should consider. They are necessities that we should always have in our mind. That don't don't forget to consider this option of adding alt text to it, right? It's really important because this alternative text help people with screen reader to read and see. If you post a very funny picture and it's associated with a text and people are laughing and somebody is in the room that is using alternative like immersive reader or something to read it or screen readers and they get to the picture and it doesn't read the picture for them, they get half of the joke. Well, for someone like me who likes humorous stuff, getting half of the joke is not funny. I rather not even hear the joke at all than hear half of it. Just bust my mind and like it's painful. So that kind of feeling is what you're giving somebody. It's even worse in situations where they are alone, they are trying to consume content and they cannot because the screen reader does not have superpowers. They can't read the image that doesn't have alternative text. It's as simple as you as an individual when you want to tweet, when you want to post on LinkedIn, click on the alt button there and add this is a picture describing this is a picture describing this is an image describing this. Very simple, 2 seconds. It doesn't stop you. It even makes your post even more like educative to the people that are going to read it because then you have to think about what's inside this picture. But it's 2 seconds, you're done. Now you as a designer design features that incorporate alternate text. Design it as part of use cases in your products that you're about to post. That application that you made for posting food, right? If you had add alt text there that somebody wants to post a food picture or something, when the person snap the picture and send post, they will add this is food of eba amala inside together with I don't talk about but these are things you should consider. Now, provide controls for content that starts automatically. So many websites, you go to them, please forgive me. Cecilia from your backyard or Cecilia that's 200 miles away from you wants to chat with you, start playing. Like, who's calling Cecilia? God, who the hell is calling Cecilia? Now, those kind of things are really annoying because they're automatically playing videos that you don't want and they are just there. And you have to now find a way to pause it and the pause is always in one weird place that you don't know. So make auto like things that start automatically, make it have control. Make it have the pause that is very big that I know I can pause this thing, I can start it, right? Glow adverts that are always starting on their own when you go to websites. Why? Now these are things that if you are designing applications, you're designing services, right?
Definitely there are some videos that will start automatically. For example, people that use Netflix to watch movies. If you leave Netflix open on the browser on your web for a long period of time, for at least 5 minutes, it's automatically playing the trailer of the video of that current image that is being showed there. Now, if you also look at Netflix, you will see a pause button there that allows you to pause that thing. It starts automatically, however, you're giving you control, right? So take it offline. Make it pretty accessible is somehow difficult for designers to make accessible products that are pretty, but it's possible, right? And the last thing I want us to have in mind is that accessibility is not an extra feature. Accessibility is not making you the biggest designer in the world. Accessibility is not a chieftaincy of hey, you are doing good job. It's not charity. Accessibility is correct work. It is the necessary thing to do. It's just like when you wake up and you're a Christian, right? You wake up and you pray. It's like Muslims that pray 5 a day, 5 times a day. It's a necessary thing to do. Building accessible product and having it in mind and putting emphasis on this is a necessity. It's what makes you a better designer. It's what proves that your product is legitimate. It's what proves that your service is legitimate. It's not charity. It's not an extra thing that is yeah, I can't do it right now. I'll do it at the end. No, start at the beginning of your design process, the beginning of your developer discovery session, to the very end of your process, and even after that, it's a necessity that you should all have in mind moving forward. Contrast is key when I was talking about contracts. This, for example, this first one here is for somebody who is colorblind. Now, this is somebody who doesn't have any form of disability reading this. I know this is go back and this is delete. Now, are you see how very confusing go back and delete is? Okay, let me read the context here. You're about to delete all your 26 submitted class assignments. Go back. Ideally, what would help is if there was a statement that was saying go back to class, or just a cancel option here that cancels this dialog box. I know that yeah, this dialog box. Now and delete now. Okay, agreed. Delete. If you see these two, you know this is red, this is blue, this is gray. Without reading it, your eyes automatically are seeing the two emphasis being placed on the color on the buttons. Now take a look at the other side. For someone who is colorblind, this is exactly what they see. There is no emphasis on any button. And if that person is colorblind and paper enter inside like maths and their visions are blurry, they can easily make mistakes because they can't even read what is here. Now this will cost them a lot. I can't imagine somebody using 26. Jeez, damn, are you guys not seeing my screen? Nobody told me. I've been sharing my screen for a very, very long time. For the past 1 hour. I've been sharing my screen for the past 1 hour in my mind. Damn, can you guys see my screen now? Omo, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm honestly very, very sorry. I hope I did record. So if you watch the video again, you will see that you will just see everything explained. So, but then this is math. This is a picture of math. I was talking, and this is what I was referring to about contrast is a king. Contrast is king. Like how important the role of contrast plays in terms of how you about these two buttons and how they work. This one that is red, this other one that is for this is how a colorblind person would see how this two buttons is and how there is no emphasis on any of the buttons, right? Moving forward, we then have this other side. Now this is how this two looks, and then this is how it looks for someone who is colorblind. Different contrasts being placed to them allow them to oh yeah, I can see that this emphasis here and this emphasis here, even if my eyes are blurry, even if pepper in my eye. So these are two different ways of design. Like you can see how wrong this is, right? And for this section of how the emphasis are being placed on the contracts, how how cool it is of how it's helping. And that's it for the whole accessibility. I would really suggest that I advise that you go watch their YouTube videos about accessibility, about how I gave more examples. I gave Figma like plugins. There's so many Figma plugins that you can use to improve accessibility and do accessibility checkup by yourself on your design before you send it off for development, right? Before you hand off. And this will help you understand, oh, this is wrong, this is contrast is wrong, this doesn't pass the AAA guide, the 2A guide, and your text is probably small, your text is not visible, things like that. So you should check those videos right about those Figma plugins. Heuristic heuristic evaluation. I like to see like give an example of how this works, right? And this is basically it's like saying how those walkways in our banks are. There is a walkway to enter inside the bank, and there's a grass road that leads also inside the same bank. But you see how people are always passing on top that grass. Like, please, somebody, you guys unmute your mic if you understand who I'm getting at, please. Yeah? Hello, 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 hello. You guys understand what I'm saying? Hello? Okay, cool. Yeah. So imagine, like, you should imagine there's always this grass path that people are always walking on top, even inside church, sef, that is like a shorter route. And however, there is a road that is already like coated or there's interlocking on it, but nobody's following that path. Or many people are following there, but there are still a lot of people following the grass, and you see a path on the grass. Now, the reason why they are doing that is because, or why we do that is because it helps us make faster decisions. Oh, I'm going to this place. This is a convenience center. I just pass it, shut up, and get there. That's one decision. Those are things like the process is easier to get there. So why won't I follow it, right? So, and heuristic evaluation is a process where experts use rules of thumb to measure usability of user interfaces in independent walkthroughs and report issues. That's design interaction design foundation definition of what heuristic evaluation is. And this is a process of using rule of thumb to measure usability of the user's interface. When I talk about usability in the other class, I talked about how functional a product be, how use cases affect the product, how you should use it. A lot. I'm sure you heard more about usability. Now, when it comes to user interfaces, right? Heuristic evaluation is how rule of thumb measure usability of the application. How do I make a decision faster? How do I log out? Right? I want to log out. I just swiped it. If I'm on a mobile phone, I want to log out. I just click the menu button off. If I was my I click the menu button, I scroll down, see log out there ASAP. I won't even waste time. Now hiding that button in my profile doesn't make sense. It makes it harder for me to find it, right? Now those are the things that affect. Those are the things that using heuristic evaluation for like improves. If I want to sign up, I just know I click here, sign up. How many form am I filling? I'm seeing the process of me filling the form. If it's 3 steps, I'm seeing it there already. So these are ways that heuristic evaluation help us understand. Oh, this process is too tedious. We need to shut it down with this and reduce it like this. Now, this is 10 commandments for heuristic evaluation. Keep users informed about its status appropriately and promptly. Let users know, okay, oh, I have 4 steps to fill in my account here. They know from the very beginning point that you enter. When you are trying to build, for example, you are trying to design a financial product, right? You will definitely have people fill in KYCs or complete their KYCs when they are putting their personal details and the rest and bank details, BVN. Now, if you let them know that you have 3 steps to complete this, it's easier for me to say, oh, let me check. I have 10 minutes. I think I just do them now. If I don't know what to expect and I'm just there and I'm putting in my details, and I'm seeing next, 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 gets to a point where it starts to feel weird, even if I'm in the last stage, I don't even know, right? So having people having like tell the status of appropriately and promptly, right, in terms of where am I, what's happening here on this page, if it's a form, how many forms left, what is happening on this page, that kind of thing. Now you should have it in mind. Show information in ways users understand from how the real world operates. As You must have heard, right? You are designing design products not for human beings to fit into it, but for it to fit into human life. Now that was the idea of the whole UX design thing coming. That was one of the bottom ideas for how UX design was coming to build products that fit into our life, right? Now try and replicate empathy from how users feel about the product in real world and how it operates in real world. If you are trying to build an application that opens a door, try to think about it. When will I probably use the application? When I'm facing my door most likely. When somebody calls me and I'm like, oh, I need to open my door most likely. Now, how do you design that product that gives that same feeling of, yeah, the door is actually open? You start designing, oh, this button will have a sound. So if I click that, yeah, boom, I know it's opening, right? Now, these are things that you have in mind that, oh, these are how you are trying to like bring that real world experience into digital experience that lets the person, oh, make those decisions faster, understand what's happening, offer users control and let them undo errors easily, allowing your products to be, you know, to have good error management. I think I mentioned this in one of the lectures earlier. If I didn't, somebody must have. Now having them to be able to undo errors, like, and this happens a lot in mobile devices that you're trying to fill a form. There's no undo, so you can like you're just looking at it there and like, damn, I would have control Z this thing for my PC. Now, build products, right, that allow people to make decisions faster. Oh, I just undo this thing ASAP. I know that I've gotten it back. You should have that in mind. Be consistent so users aren't confused over what different words, icon, etc. mean. I have this problem as well. If you follow me on Twitter, I follow you guys back. Please, I'm sorry for not doing that initially. It was forgot. Now, I was talking about design systems and I had to do design system audits where I now saw all different inconsistencies in my cards and icons and text. Yes, it was a very bad faulty thing, right? So, but then having in mind that you have to keep a consistent process of making sure that everything is aligned. If you are getting your icons from font awesome, let all your icons be from font awesome. If you are getting it from remix icon, let all it be from remix icons. From now, let it be from now icons. So users are being already getting used to how they look like. There is a reason why Apple Mac devices will always look like Mac, even if you don't know the phones. Some Infinix now, if you see them from the back, you will not even know. You look at them, you think it's iPhone. But if you see the interface, if you see the icon last song, you will know that this is a Mac device. Even if it's a Samsung phone, once you see the icons, you will know. That is because of the consistency in the design. This goes far to branding. It goes far to the brand messaging of how the product allow people to feel about them. Creating that memory bank of this is how this product makes me feel. This is how I relate to this product. It goes a really long way of being consistent. Prevent errors. Systems should either avoid conditions where errors arise or warn users before they take risks. E.g., are you sure you want to do this message? That kind of thing. I want to delete my account. Hi Chidima, good day. Are you sure you want to delete your account? Now, this also takes back to UX writing. Understanding UX writing help you identify how best to structure your sentences that pass right messages and help users as well. Yeah. The next set of the commandment is have visible information, instruction, etc. to let users recognize options, actions, etc. instead of forcing them to rely on memory. Instead of trying to let people remember things, instead of forcing them to for example, you are trying to buy a recharge card. This happens a lot, and you paste in your number, and then you click on the next step. Now, they will now somebody somewhere or someone process will now tell you put in the last four digits of your number. Like, how do I remember the last four digits or the middle digit? And I start reciting the numbers to myself. If I'm buying for somebody else, that's just extra stress. And I have to leave the app and come back. So you have to consider, how can you make this easy? This is why you need to have your developers in every single stage, because now you tell your developers, I want the fact that the moment somebody puts their number here, that number should display on every single page. They don't have to put it again, so they can easily remember the middle digits or the last digits, that kind of thing. Be flexible so experienced users find faster way to attain goals. Make it easy for things to be accomplished. Make it easy for me to log out. Make it easy that I'm using WhatsApp. I know where status is. I know how to upload status. I know how to block with receipts. So make it easy. I'll tell you there's one secret that WhatsApp uses. The user experience thing that WhatsApp uses to keep a lot of people on WhatsApp and to bring older people and keep and make it an application that we can't just do without, right? But then let's finish what's that first. Have no clutter containing only relevant information of current task. So it's the same thing when I talk about the heading and the spacing. Let there be no much noise. It's just a simple thing, right? No too much noise, just simple clutter. Provide plain language, help regarding errors and solution. Back to UX writing. Simple language that tells users this is a problem and this is a solution. For example, now if I try to put in my password and it doesn't work, some applications, many applications, you see field password, it doesn't work, or you see wrong password, or you see password incorrect, and you type it correctly, you see password incorrect, but they're not telling you what to do, nothing, you just see password incorrect, or you try to put your email and tell you account not found, just like that. What happened? Account not found. Now, plain concise messages like help regarding errors and solution is you then put the pop-up, and the pop-up will have messages like currently your account's not found. Try logging in and logging out, or try closing the application and coming back. Try reaching out to our team here. Try this here. There's probably a problem with your network. Please try in the next 2 hours, in the next 7 minutes. Proper errors and solutions that will help somebody. Simple thing that will help somebody understand. Like even if I'm facing a problem and I'm getting error for all the time, I shall know that oh, this is a solution that these guys are offering me, and I can take it. That's one thing about empathy. Empathy is not just having sympathetic feeling for somebody and then oh yeah sorry, you luck you you don't know what happened to me. Remember that thing happened to me, Kai, you won't even small. That's not empathy. Like this just ties back to empathy. If when somebody is telling you a problem and you're trying to find solutions together, that's exactly what is happening here. That they have a problem and you're providing them solutions to that error at the same time. While still telling them, oh, this is an error, but this is a solution to it. And you feel their pain. Now, list concise steps in laying searchable documentation of overcome problems. Now, these are like steps in terms of documentation of how you overcome the problems. It ties back to what you do mostly as a researcher, documenting how these problems are solved. You have to list those steps. I think this definitely is not entirely for the users. Now, this is for your products and writing them down. Yeah, I think that's the end of my slides for today. I'm so sorry for not sharing my screen initially. Please forgive me. Honestly, I really feel bad about that. Yeah, and I said I'll tell you guys something about the WhatsApp stuff. Now, one thing that WhatsApp did that really helped a lot of people remain on the platform is that, number one, the learning curve to using WhatsApp is at the lowest minimum for any reason at all. Anybody can learn to use WhatsApp faster than they can learn to use Twitter, that they can learn to use Telegram, that they can learn to use Instagram. Learning WhatsApp is the easiest. That they can even learn to use Signal. It is the easiest for anybody to learn. That's why our parents can easily send us broadcast message of what one pastor says somewhere about water that you don't even know where it's coming from. Or what the government said that they will share 240 million if we fill this form for all the youths. These kind of things are it's easy for our parents to learn and push out information to us. It's easy for kids that are trying to find their way use phone for them to know what WhatsApp is and try and use it. It's very easy for everybody. It's in a way that it makes you feel home because they put it in a situation where they got that one thing that everybody has and that they only share that communication means with like personal people. Now that's our numbers. Yes, your you can share your WhatsApp number, your business line, right? However, the reason why we are always on WhatsApp is because we share our contacts, our numbers with people around us, and people that we feel are a little bit closer, that we share our numbers with them. And as well, it feels like you're seeing the person on a more personal level, right? So this was proper UX research that was done to, oh yeah, you're trying to build like a community feeling of personal people like in a very close range of friends. And that's how we expanded. And it was easy to use. It was really very easy to use. That was one key thing that WhatsApp used to envelope people. And that's the difference between WhatsApp and Telegram. Do you know Telegram has spaces? You guys know Telegram you can hold audio classes, share screen on Telegram, but then WhatsApp is still like mostly used because of that learning curve and and that heuristic evaluation, how tasks performed faster, even if WhatsApp get problem. So amongst other every other thing, that is just a takeaway. I would like to get you guys feedback and I would like to ask some questions now. I'm done with my class now. Ooh. Yeah, anybody has questions, please ask. Any question? So I want to ask right now, right? I want to ask you people question. Who like have come across inaccessible websites or products or any of those things? If you have, just mention one. And let's see any ones that you have. Like for example, me, I have Google Forms. Trying to start something on Google on my phone, the search bar is very inaccessible. So anybody, yeah, yeah, I exactly agree on that. Who else? Who else? Who else? Any inaccessible website out there that we can take heed from? Well, in the absence of that, I think we've come to a close for this session. I will be sharing the resource, all the resources I've mentioned. Please remind me if you can't find them on the Notion board for this particular class. So you can go there and get them. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for sitting with this time, and thank you. I'm sincerely sorry again for not sharing the slides. I thought I would share my screen. Honestly, thought I did. Yeah. However, you'll see it in the record. So you guys have a nice day and prepare for the next class. Now, I will come up with a task and I'll send it for you as soon as possible, as soon as I can. My PC is almost dead. But till then, have a nice day, guys, and think about accessibility. You know. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, everybody.